So you've been in South Africa for 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
How has your overall experience been here?
You know, it's so amazing that right now on our last day here, there's a storm coming in. The lady who runs this place just came over and said, there's a hailstorm coming, so we may have to run in quick, but I really wanted to do this interview. My overall experience has been, I would say, life-changing in the way that I came here totally naive. I actually never knew I was coming to South Africa. It just sort of developed through finding an agent and getting some gigs. And so I was very ignorant to the culture of South Africa, to the way that South Africa is. Like, I don't know if you can see, but I'm surrounded by electric fence. I'm in a community, a gated community. There's security guards about every 2 blocks. I have a driver everywhere I go for security purposes. And it's as though there are facades that you live this beautiful life, which you do, but then when you step outside of the boundaries, it's really sad. I mean, here I am driving in this SUV to this beautiful casino, and I see a 12-year-old boy at 11 o'clock at night in the middle of the lanes of traffic with a sign begging for money. And you can't roll down your window and give him money because it might kill you for your cell phone. And these are the things that I've been warned and told about, and I was just really naive to that. One of the things that I thought was, and I don't know why I'm so upset, maybe it's just PMS, maybe, I don't know, but one of the things that I found so metaphorical was I saw a Porsche dealership, and below the Porsche dealership, so the Porsche dealership would overlook this like squatters' shacks made out of cardboards, and these people are in buying Porsches and they see this poverty, but yet the South Africans that have money don't call it poverty. They believe if they have a cell phone, they're not living in poverty. I never saw one white person working in the genre of service. Every person I met was black and kind and grateful, and so I found that interesting. I did some radio shows where I wasn't allowed to use the word penis. So there's this real conservativeness about South Africa, but yet I would do my shows, and Parker's Comedy Club was just fantastic. It was like no holds bar. Anything I wanted to do, I never felt for a moment that I wasn't allowed to be who I was as a comedian, which is really fantastic. Kudos to Parker's, and that's the honest to God's truth. And I would watch the audience, and a lot of people were in shock as to what I was saying. But then afterwards, there was this like sincere gratitude that I was expressing myself. And I don't know, I'm going way on and on. That's way over what my experience has been. What other question?
What was the reaction of the audiences here compared to, say, the UK or even back in Canada?
At times I felt there was really shock, and then they sort of started to understand what I was doing, that I was expressing myself in a way that I celebrate myself as a woman. I'm not a self-deprecating comic in the way that, ooh, look at how, fat or old or whatever. I think I got it going on. And I think they really appreciated that. And I had a woman come up to me last night who literally, like, held my hand, and so fucking emotional today. She said, she looked at me, like, really looked at me and said, thank you. And she had this beautiful, voluptuous body. And I think she brought her mother over and said, I want you to tell her what you're doing and why, and what you think about South Africa and what's missing. And I think there's so much fear in this country because of the statistics that go around. Like, 1 in 3 South African men claim to have raped a woman, and it's, these statistics are so off. They're, you take 400 men and ask them this question in a community that's just not South Africa, and it's just, all you're doing is further suppressing people, and that's a shame.
Now, do you find that there is apartheid's been over forever, but do you find that there is still a difference in class based on money now?
Absolutely. It's interesting because how they socialize, the South Africans, they go to the casino, and you walk into the casino, and they're very casual, but it's as if they're at the park or the mall, or walking. It's like walking down, say, Leslieville in Toronto. That's their social community, because you walk in, you're searched, your bags are searched. They even have a gun safe, so because you can carry guns here, so they put the guns in a safe, and so everybody pretends. Even the sky is a magic pretend blue skies. And it's this facade of, living in this safe community, and only people with money can get in there. And they walk around with their children. You see little children, 3-4 years old, at 11 o'clock at night, like, pretending it's daylight. It's really, really, and I am on stage, sort of burlesque dressed in red and bright colors, and I just stand out like a sore thumb. Like, people constantly looking at me like, who's she? I really felt that, which I don't mind. Kind of like that. I do.
And is the comedians that you met here? You met some women, some men also. Do you find them different in watching your comedy, or how they do their comedy compared to the UK? I know that there's a little bit of shock value because they're not used to seeing a woman express herself here, from what I've seen.
I met 2 women. One woman was an Indian woman who was absolutely fantastic on stage, like, just totally fantastic. Very political, very clean. I can't imagine her doing that set in Toronto. Like, we just wouldn't understand. It was purely about South Africa, but commanded the stage. I learned so much. I was fascinated by her. That being said, she said she would see me tomorrow night, but I never saw her again. So I don't know whether she got rumor that, my comedy's kind of, bawdy, and or if she was simply busy. I also met another woman who came backstage and said she's a comedian, and she couldn't believe. She literally said to me, I can't believe that you get away with what you get to say on stage. As a South African woman, a white South African woman, she said they would never let me talk like that, ever. But because I'm an international comedian coming in, it's sort of like they're curious, they allow you, and she loved the comedy. She was very thankful. The guys on the show were really great. The MCs, they stuck around. They would prepare you for the show. The camaraderie there, much different than in Canada. Canada's kind of sort of has this competitive feel all the time. And, I have a few really great friends in comedy that get what comedy's about. If comedy flourishes as a whole, everybody does well. Just because somebody's off doing wonderful things doesn't mean you're not going to. It means they're opening the door for you. And so I thought the comedy people here were just fantastic to me. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot from them.
So what do you feel, here for 2 weeks, what do you feel your best experience was here and your worst experience?
Wow. I think the best experience was Victoria Falls. Petting lion cubs. Sunshine. Being with my husband. Feeling very safe that way. I could never be here, ever be here alone, ever. It would overwhelm me. There were times that I was very afraid. And that would go into the worst experience was seeing a dead body on the road, and the paramedics were standing around this dead body laughing. They were laughing. And I brought it up to some comedians that night. I was so confused by that. And he said, you know, after a trauma, there's no healing for these people. There's no debriefing. So that's the way. That's the only way they can deal with what they see, because there's so much. That's someone getting hit on the road, running across the highway is what happened. Happens all the time. It's like they're laughing at this cause of death, and I'm literally going from one gig to the next, and I'm like, you know, I just saw a dead body. I'm kind of affected by that. And I see people laughing around this dead person, this human, and that was awful. The 12-year-old boy, fuck. I just wanted to steal him. Like, it's all getting all Angelina Jolie, you know, all Madonna or something. You can see why you come to these countries and you want to save people. And so that would be the best and worst. But the best truly is, I'm so grateful to live in the country that I live in, to have the freedom to come to another country, but also the security of knowing I can go home and feel so safe. I literally have a complete new understanding for my country and my gratefulness for that.
Fantastic.
My name is Shelley Marshall.